think she thought she could blow me off, and I would be the bigger man. Well, somewhere in this lonely night, she's gone and lost all of her good sense. There ain't no secret I was sold to drinking, and I get to drinking till I start thinking tends to leave me in the state of mind I'm in. I have a night I'm on the outside, drug out of my mind, taking a short drive to your house. I know that it ain't right, and your dad is outside, ready to fist fight. He can't wait to take me down. To hell with the advice, if I ain't then I ain't nice. Here come my headlights, old man getting down. Take cover for your life and step out of your side. You're gonna
Welcome, everybody, to Picks and Bones. It's Eric once again, bringing you the best in Americana, Carolina clay, black dirt, red dirt. If it's dirty, we're going to get you into it. And especially as far as the music goes, too. Tonight, I'm bringing to you Pistol Hill. This man has been all over the place, kicking ass. He's got some great music out there, some great collaborations. And, folks, let me bring him on. How are you tonight, sir?
I'm doing perfect. It's glad I'm just glad to finally get to hop on here with you, man, and talk to you. It's been a while.
Yeah,
Long
man.
time coming.
I appreciate that. It's I know you've had some issues yourself trying to get things squared away and where they needed to be, and hopefully everything's worked out now.
It sure is. Yeah.
Awesome. That's good. Good to hear. Good to hear.
I've had a fun couple months, man. Been a real fun couple.
I've been paying attention. You've been all over the place, and
I have been, and that between my wife being pregnant, and I'm 25 years old. I'm just now learning what life is. And
and you're still a newlywed if you really want to break it all down. So I mean that's awesome too. Congratulations on that as well.
Thank you.
And the baby on the way.
Oh yeah,
babies change your life, brother. I'm telling you.
I'm in the middle of a war over the name. I'm good at winning dog names. I've named all the dogs so far, but I don't know if she's gonna let me name the baby. I'm working on that one though. I got a good name picked out. We'll work on it.
Boy or girl?
I'll let you know how that goes. Girl.
Okay.
Scares the hell out of me. By the way, what's the cussing limitations on this show? You gotta tell me stuff.
I don't limit anybody on anything. That's why
cool.
That's why I have that nice little button to say this episode is explicit if needs be.
Yeah.
If you've ever heard Junior Ramey or heard the one with Ken Tribble, you know we will go there. Hell, even Justin Clyde.
I did listen to Justin. Justin, man, I love that dude. He's
when
awesome.
You guys, since the notorious Justin Clyde Williams, it's not. I don't think there's a show that he doesn't get brought up in some way, shape, or form. You guys have done a couple of collaborations and everything together.
Yeah, Justin's been for a while. He is like my brother. I mean, to this day, I still think of him as a brother. But yeah, we've done a ton of stuff together, and he's always been there for me musically. Anytime I need help, I like to think he's always a step ahead of me in terms of where he's at in terms of getting, talent-wise in his career. In guitar, he's always a little bit better than me. Vocal is always a little bit better than me. He's always kind of helping me along and teaching me what I need to know. And if I have any questions, Justin's always there for me. And if I ever need somebody to play guitar on something,
told myself that you just can't be a star if you ain't born in California or pay your way right up the charts. I was told myself the big ends wouldn't we can do, and your dreams don't count for nothing like the dirt caked on your boots. Well, I got wise and told myself
somebody to help me finish a song, write a song if I'm missing a line or 2 lines, or if I just have an idea and I need the whole thing to be written. Justin Clyde's the man to go to. Man, he's awesome, man. I love him to death, and he loves everyone back too. Cool
he
part.
really does. I mean, he's a huge. Not only or we all support the hell out of him, but he's also a huge supporter. He's been a huge supporter of my show and what I'm doing, and just everybody around. I don't think anybody has a bad thing to say about that guy as far as musically and everything else. Just down to earth.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about your. I know your album's not that new, but I know you probably got some stuff in the works and everything. Kind of tell everybody about Pistol Hill, about your music.
So Pistol Hill is me. That's clearly not my real name. I don't think my mom's not dumb enough to name me Pistol. Pistol's a great name, but back in the 90s, I don't think anybody was naming their kid Pistol necessarily, except for Waylon Jennings, who was naming his kid Shooter.
Well,
but there's it's kind of a name I was given around the same time I found my relationship with Christ was developed. And in a way, in the Bible, when like these characters in the Bible get new names whenever they find God or they're baptized or whatever.
Yeah.
In a way, Pistol Hill's that for me.
Okay.
I would never actually compare myself to a Bible character, but biblical character. But to me, it does the same thing. And I found God in country music right at the same time. I was leading worship at church. I just for months I had been leading worship, and I'd been doing it for a living. And this guy walks up to me and goes, "Hey man, you ever heard of Jamie Johnson?" And this guy's name's Josh Biddix. He runs Broad River Hemp Company, actually. And I said, "No." Well, I knew In Color.
Yeah.
And
everybody knows In Color.
Yeah, everyone knew In Color. But I was like, not really. I mean, besides In Color, my dad had showed, when I was a kid, my dad had showed me High Cost of Living. And
that's a good one.
He goes, "Well, man, I just feel like it would do you some good to go see him live." So he drug me out to the Orange Peel, and holy shit, man, that changed my life. That was the night of my life, and I ended up seeing Jamie and Whitey and Cody and all these guys within like a year or two of that show, and just diving right into it and surrounding myself, and met Justin and met all these other guys who really just. These guys were bleeding this stuff, man. And while it's, in some ways, stuff like that's dangerous because you get wrapped up in a scene like that, and sometimes you forget to develop yourself and become who you're supposed to be. And that's kind of where I am now. This first record we put out, you had some help from a really good friend of mine, Linda Parks, who for a while helped me.
She's awesome. Awesome lady. She and I are talking about doing some work together on getting some South Carolina bands up your way and vice versa.
Yeah, and she introduced me to my producer, who's now like one of my best friends. Me and Billy Hume won a Grammy with the Infamous String Dusters for Best Bluegrass Record a couple years ago, and she introduced me to him and helped me get some songs out there like Brand New Bottle of Whiskey and Two Jacks and Heartless and all this stuff. And now I'm she's a little busy now to help out a young fellow like me, but we're still cool and still good friends. And I got some new stuff coming out now. It's a little bit of a different sound. It's a little more rock, I would say, than it is country. But I've gotten to work with some cool people, man. Gotten to work with some really cool people, and a lot of it started, Shelby, North Carolina. Linda Parks drinking wine at a fancy restaurant. The only gig I could get on a Sunday at 4:00, and she was sitting there drinking, and she heard me sing Heartless, and she walked up to me and she goes, "Did you say you wrote that?" And I was like, "Yeah." And friendship started right there, and a lot of my career started right there too. A lot of good opportunities came from that. I'm not sure if that answered your question or not.
Oh, no, that answered the question. I actually got introduced to her by Jeb Brown, who is Billy Don's.
I talked to him today, actually. Yeah.
I'm actually going to be up there for the Billy Don show this weekend doing a
Oh, cool.
interview with him and everything, and kind of doing a live, little bit of a live video beforehand on what it's like to be backstage with Billy Don Burns and
Yeah,
all that good stuff.
that's
And
cool.
Parker Ford's going to be opening up for him, so
That's awesome.
he's a local
Yeah.
boy from here. So I got to go support them both. And Jeb's sister is a dear friend of mine, so that's
Oh, nice.
that's an awesome thing. So
We were actually we just booked a show with Billy Don. I guess we hadn't announced it, so I can't talk much about it. But it's got a little theater near Tupelo. We're doing a show in June sometime with him. I've been talking to Jeff for like the last 4 or 5 days. That guy's a hoot, man. I love him.
he's a trip.
Yeah.
And
I don't know his sister, but I'm sure she's cool too.
well, she's a honky tonk singer, so
Oh, cool.
yeah, she's check her out, Jennifer Westwood and the Handsome Devils.
Okay,
They're
good.
amazing. Really, they really are. And she
yeah.
is a great friend. So I got nothing but positivity and love for those folks. How did you get started as a musician?
As a musician, oh man, I was 6 years old, and I was just learning what it meant to rebel against my parents. So I convinced my grandparents. I come from a long line of businessmen.
Okay.
Very not your average businessmen. Businessmen who like to do things their own way. All of them started their own business of some kind and struggled for years and found success their own way. And I guess that's how I got where I am now. But I learned the gift of gab from my father, and I used that gift of gab to convince my grandparents to go in on some drum lessons for me and buy me a drum set and take turns taking me to my grandmother Ann would take me to drum lessons here in Shelby at Shelby Music Center, and Alan, a good friend of mine now. It's funny, we played in the band together for well, like 2 weeks, but we played in the band together. But he taught me drums when I was 6 years old. It was really interesting going to see his band in college and stuff, because he's still rocking, man. He's still killer. But that's how that was my start. I played drums for about 6 years, and just long enough for my dad's hearing to go,
Nice.
shit. And but they my brother was actually touring with a Latin band playing lead guitar for him. He had I don't know if you know much about guitars, but he had a Stevie Ray Vaughan Strat with John Mayer pickups.
Oh wow,
which is an interesting mix.
That is a very interesting mix.
And then he bought a Martin. He bought a D18 or something, and he gave me his old Ibanez Artist Edition at 12. And he kind of just one night he was just taught me how to play G, C, and D. I think he was teaching me 3 a.m. on Matchbox 20 or something like that. And I just could I could play the chords, but I couldn't get a hold of the I couldn't get the phrasing and all the all the little details. I really couldn't sing the song. So instead, I just wrote my own thing, and I showed it to him, and he was like, "Oh, that's not bad, man. Let me record it." And over the next, through high school and through college, I was writing 300 songs a year.
Wow.
I have files of just like, I think 2,500 something songs. Now, that means they weren't very good. That means I wasn't going and workshopping them. I wasn't, writing with other people. I wasn't really taking my time on them. I had a lot of emotions, and I didn't know how to get them out. And that was the best way I knew how. Now I write much less, but they're much better songs.
I got you.
That's the good news. Yeah. But that's how I got my start, man. It was fate. It was luck. I wasn't supposed to be a musician. Nobody in my family was, except for my brother, and he was more of a guitar player than he was a singer songwriter. But yeah.
So, what's your favorite guitar to date?
Man, I have a what do they call these? G&L. It's like a Strat. I think it's where Fender started multiple companies. The guy started multiple companies, and every time he would just kind of make a better product, and it would end up actually being cheaper because it was a lesser known brand. These G&Ls are pretty interesting. Now they're not. I've had an American Strat that was pretty cool, but I like this. This is I just got it the other day. It's actually my wife's uncle. So I don't know what that would be to me, but he passed away. He was a tour musician for a while,
Okay.
and he passed away maybe 8 years ago. And this guitar's just been sitting at my father-in-law's house, and I had no clue he had it, and he had this big stack. I don't know if you can see the stack right here.
Yeah.
It smokes when you turn it on, so I can't. For those of you who aren't looking on Skype, there's a big, massive speaker back here that Pistol has no idea how to use. And I guess using you, but it smokes when you turn it on because there's something wrong with the tubes, and and I'm an acoustic guy all my life, so I have been an acoustic guy all my life. So playing an electric's a little bit different. In fact, I still can't play a G chord without pressing too hard and it kind of being out of tune a little bit. I'm working on it. We got the band. We got a band coming up soon, so I gotta grow up and learn how to play an electric. But that's my favorite right now, just because it's new to me.
Okay, I got you. No, I know you were bringing up. Yeah, I know a little bit about guitars. I bought my son. It's a Epiphone Les Paul, but we found it at a pawn shop because he was wanting a Les Paul to add. Because his first guitar I got him was a BC Rich Warlock Kerry King edition with black diamond heavies and the whole works.
Yeah.
But on the Les Paul though, the guys weren't paying attention, and a luthier had reset this thing up. The strings were set perfectly, and it had Hetfield pickups in it. So I was like, yeah, you guys want $200 for it? Okay, yeah, we'll take it off your hands. I'm like, one pickup cost that.
Oh, that's hilarious. You can find some good stuff at pawn shops, man.
Man, you can. Really, you can.
Oh, yeah. That's the right one.
True. Very, very true.
The ones that aren't going to last long, those are the ones you need to the new ones.
Yeah, the ones that are going to burn out really, really, really fast.
Yeah. If they've been established for a while, you're probably not going to get a good. You might get a good deal, but you're not going to get as good as a deal as you could at one that is not going to last very long.
That or go to one that's getting ready to close. When they're going to go out of business because somebody's going to retire or passed away or whatever.
Just trying to empty it out. I like pawn shop stuff, and I think that's why I like this electric guitar so much. It's got someone else's memories, and it's like when you pick it up, you got this whole new set of songs. And I don't care what people say. You can live. I mean, Jason Isbell's proof. You can write a song about something you don't know about. There's just there's a way to go about it. There's a way to go about that. And there's a way to go about writing songs that you do know about, and you can go about that wrong too. But I think a really great way is pick up an old guitar from a pawn shop and try to figure out what its stories are.
Well, and everything's kind of got its own soul and spirit to it.
Yeah.
And I mean, that guitar's got its own legacy, and now you're going to continue it on and, help carry it to another level. So, I mean, that's great, actually.
Yeah. And it makes it a tad easier when it's in the family. Too.
Exactly.
When it's a legacy that means something to my father-in-law and means something to my wife. And yeah.
When you get the opportunity to actually hear some of those stories.
And
everything too, that, any of the ones that can be told in polite company.
Oh yeah.
Because we know how the life of a tour musician is.
Yeah.
And, you mentioned being up in Shelby. Shelby's becoming the hotbed for music right now.
Oh yeah.
Between you got Dirty Grass Soul Boys up there and
Scott Moss and man, you got a lot of Luke Edwards, the Grassabillies. You got you got a lot of guys, man. You got just about. And it's funny. I grew up watching Scott help me get. I guess this goes along with the story of how I got my start in music. When I first started playing and first started writing or taking myself seriously, the same guy, Josh Biddix, who took me to see the Jamie Johnson show and kind of introduced me to what we were able to call the outlaw era or the most recent outlaw era of music. Cody and Whitey and Jamie and all that stuff. I guess now we're just calling that traditional, but about the same time, he introduced me to Scott, and he brought me down to Scott's studio. Scott had just opened Redbud, and he was just testing out some new equipment, and he let me sit in there and record some demos, and I ended up releasing 9 of them. I don't know where they are now. I think I probably took them down and erased them because I was embarrassed. But but it was such a great start for me, man. Scott's always been so good, and plus he's got the best guitar player in the land, man, Derek McCoy. I don't know if you've checked out Derek, but he's got a jazz trio as well. He's awesome.
I need to check that
And
out.
if there's anything more badass than country, it's probably hardcore fusion jazz. So that's the only thing I would feel okay with us is saying is more complicated than writing a good country song.
And jazz is difficult.
Oh yeah,
I mean, I've got a son that's in college for music right now, and he's like the jazz stuff. He's like, man, it blows your mind what you're getting yourself into, or how you're supposed to just completely change the way you're thinking.
Oh yeah.
I know.
Well, and country and jazz go well together too. I mean, take Merle Haggard for instance. A lot of he's got records that the whole thing just feels like a jazz record. I mean, a drunken stupor jazz record.
Right.
I don't know if that's a very good way to say that, but Merle Haggard's king. That's all I have to say.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, even Willie's put out some that's kind of got that jazz blues feel to it. And that's what I respect about some of these old school country guys. They weren't afraid to take the chances, and if they decided, hey, you know what, I want to do this kind of jazzy blues thing, who's going to tell them no?
Well, yeah. It's funny. That's kind of where I'm at in my career right now. And I'm not saying I'm going to go do a jazz record, but I've got this song I've got coming out now, Love Letter. I've got it's interesting. I don't like. Probably most of the guys you interview don't really love straight up love songs. I don't like writing love songs. It's not my thing. You know what I mean?
I know most of the people I interview are just kind of shy away from it because they're like, nah. Well, we have a lot of the same friends in music, so they're gonna write something that's depressive and sad, drinking, lonely songs, and dark. And I love that personally.
Yeah, I do too. And then that's what got me into country music. And it's been the greatest challenge of my life to realize that it's not necessarily my job just to write sad songs, because I'm good at writing sad songs. I know I can keep writing sad songs. But the one thing I challenged myself with this one song, and for all I know, it could just be one song my whole career. But this one song, I just wanted to figure out, I've been dating my wife since we were 12, since we were in 8th grade. And since I started writing music, literally, the week I wrote my first song, I met my wife, and we started dating. And it's the hardest thing I ever had to do was try to write a song about that. In fact, the whole song is really, the song that's coming out soon. You've probably seen the promo for Love Letter on my page. The song it's a little bit different than most of my stuff, and it's not, it's going to be an outlier in terms of not everything's going to sound like that. But it's been the hardest song to write, and the whole song's actually about how hard it was to tell her I love her, because if you try to say I love you to somebody with words other than I love you, in other words, you try to elaborate on that, like I love you. What else are you going to say?
You get the classic old country line, or the classic old song line. So I had to say I love you with a song. Pull out some Jim Croce on it.
Yeah, so I had to find a way that was like, because it's not like I was saying before, and I interrupted myself. Go figure. It's not my job to write sad songs. It's my job to write something that's authentic and write something that's real, what I live. And it took me a minute to realize this, but I've been living a love story. I'm very lucky to be living a love story, and I've had plenty of heartbreak. Me and my wife were off and on through college. We took a break or whatever. We didn't date for 4 years. We were still friends, and knew each other and dated off and on for 13 years now, 14 coming up soon. But it's a difficult thing, man, that's the thing that I've lived that I haven't been able to write about. And it's the hardest thing I've done, but hopefully it goes over well. I got some good old honky tonk coming out right after that. So
Nice.
if people don't like love songs, don't worry. I'm not abandoning ship,
Don't
I'm
get me
still
wrong.
trying.
There's a place for a good love song. There really
Oh
is.
yeah. Oh yeah.
And, I wish guys could actually get over themselves and actually write some, because honestly, some of the best ones you get out there are ones, I mean, it tells that story of heartache and heartbreak. And, a love story doesn't have to be happy.
No, not at all. Yeah.
I
That's the way
mean,
love goes.
yeah. Hey, there's another good song title.
Yeah.
We could probably play the song title game and get through the whole rest of this interview.
Yeah, I know.
Who are some
But
of your? Go
real
ahead.
quick on love letter, one last thought. If you don't like love songs and you listen to it and you don't like the words for some reason, which I hope you do, because I worked hard on them. Justin Clyde Williams played guitar on it, and the guitar work on that song is just amazing, and the tone and I mean, he nailed it. So if you don't like it, if you don't like any of that stuff, there's still something to be had in that song. Just listen to the guitars. Go buy a Sonar or something and single out the guitars and just listen to them. They're still badass.
Hey, there you go.
Anyways, I digress. Let's continue.
No, I love it. This show's all about jumping down rabbit holes.
Hell yeah, man! I can do that all day.
So can I. So I guess we've kind of developed who some of your modern influences are and everything. Where do you see your music even a year from now?
Oh, a year from now.
I
I'll
know
tell
everybody
you,
says, "Where do you see yourself in 5 years?" No. Where do you see yourself in a year from now? I mean,
a
you're
year
going to
from
be a
now,
dad at
yeah,
that
I'm
point.
gonna be a dad.
So
I,
are you gonna try to teach your daughter to the ways of the musical force?
well, she's gonna be a bass player. I figured that out already. Because that's the hardest thing to get. That's the
Stand
hardest
up or
thing.
electric?
Both, hopefully.
Okay.
I'll teach her electric. I don't know about. I don't think I could teach her stand up. We'll have to.
I've got both in my house right this minute.
Well, hey man, you want to hit the road? That's the.
A buddy of mine asked me the other night, he goes, "Hey, you got a lot of free time these days. Why don't you come play bass for me?" I said, "I can come play at it for you all day, all night."
Oh,
I
yeah.
said, "Why not?"
That's man. I tell you, for me, my goal in the next year, and I'm gonna, I'm just gonna take this as a. I think of everything musically as touring. So like whenever I use this hashtag on tour for life, and I mean that. Like I mean like my favorite thing is to go around and play people my songs. Like if I don't, I've actually been, my story's a little different than some. Like I've actually been pretty lucky in life. My parents were good people. They helped me have everything I need, but they were also tough on me in terms of they taught me a lot of hard lessons, and they really had a good plan to raise me. My dad wasn't poor by any means, and but at 12 years old, he looked at me and said, "From now on, if you want something, you can earn it." And it's not like he didn't have the means, but if you need it, and he included college in the need, which I went and wasted his money for a year and a half and dropped out to do music. But guitar. He's never bought me a guitar. He's never promoted a song. He's never helped me pay for a song. He's never done any. He's always let me earn it on my own. And that was one of the greatest things that anyone's ever done for me, is making me earn things on my own. But he this year, I think for me, it's the year of getting a band on the road. I've got these. When I go to the studio, I have these great musicians come in, and we make some great music, and it's wonderful. And I tour the country by myself right now, and starting in June I'll start a new project where I'll be touring with this other guy full time. We'll kind of be splitting shows and combining resources and trying to build a band together. And that's my goal for this year. I mean, that's where I want to be in a year. I hope that we can talk again, maybe for the second, maybe for the third time. I don't know. It um, depends on how my schedule looks.
Right on.
But I hope to have a band. I hope to be able to bring. Right now, I feel like I'm bringing 75% of the Pistol Hill experience to people in terms of like my ability to show off what I have to offer as a musician. But I feel like I owe people that other 25%. You know, I stuttered there because I almost said 15%. I did not do very good in math, so we can just leave that.
That's why you're a
But
musician, right?
that's what I see in a year. That's what I'm
Okay.
focused on. I'm focused on getting a band on the road and transitioning. I mean, right now I'm playing 250 shows a year in 25 different states. Playing the corner bar rooms, you know, and one or two people there maybe listening to me, or you know what I mean. I mean, some places I go, I have 20 or 30. Some places I go, I have none. You know, and I wanna get a band and get into some more listening rooms, and you know, try to double the amount of listening rooms I'm doing, and that's what I see in it here.
I think there's a lot of guys that are trying to get out of the bars and more into the listening rooms.
It's like a
Because
constant. I think there's a constant battle of that. Yeah.
there really is. And, you know, one of my biggest gripes with, you know, shows and everything today is people will go, they're going to pay the door fee or buy a ticket or whatever. But then if you come in there and you're just running your mouth the whole time, playing on your cell phone,
Yep.
why did you bother spending that money? You know,
Yeah,
granted, the artist is appreciates you spending that money,
Yeah.
but the artist is going to appreciate it more if you're actually listening and digesting that music. I mean, because, you know, I've been a musician all of my life too. I get it. You want them to feel your pain. You want them to feel your joy. They want you to feel that heartache, whatever you're trying to convey, because, you know, this is your life you're putting out there for them. And, you know, musicians are, you know, I see musicians actually even more so than any other, you know, other than, you know, not even actors or artists or anything else. You're literally bearing your soul on the stage. And you're saying, here, I'm pouring everything out here. The least you could do is listen for the next hour and a half, 2 hours. You know,
or just, and that's part of why I'm teaming up with this friend of mine. And I'll be announcing a bunch of stuff. I would just spill all the beans, but he, you know, we have like a plan, as ineffective as it may be. You know, we might post it and get 2 likes on it, but we have a plan on how we're gonna announce all this stuff. But part of that reason, just because, like, I think the biggest issue is if you're singing 3 hours a night. First of all, that's unhealthy for your voice. I mean, people do it. I mean, Jamie Johnson, I've heard stories about him singing 3 or 4 hours, or overselling a concert and him singing 2 back-to-back 2.5-hour shows. And Eric Church does 3-hour shows and all that stuff. Now he's only doing 2 or 3 shows a week. I'm talking about doing 5 shows a week, 3 hours. Is really unhealthy, and not just is it not good for. I push. I mean, I'm not a light singer by any means. I mean, I sing much like a rock singer in terms of how I sing and where I sing from and the different voices I use and stuff. And singing 3 hours a night's hard. So, I mean, and it's hard to focus. Like when I sing my music, if I could sing an hour and 15 a night, an hour and a half a night, right? Which I don't really know if anyone wants to listen to me for more than an hour and a half anyway. You know what I mean? Like when I go to a show after an hour and a half, I'm like, at least walk off stage and come back, you know, pretend it's an encore or something. You know? Like I'm ready for the next act, you know? And I feel like if you can't say it in an hour and a half, you know, so that's part of why we're teaming up. It's you know, split shows, you know, one of us open up or one of us headline, co-headline, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And it's really going to allow us to And I think more people should do that, and they are. You see that in Shelby, you see that in Charlotte, you see that in Hickory, Justin, all those guys, all those buddies are doing that, and all the local guys are doing more and more shows like that, more like Old Dallas Brewery and stuff like that. Those guys are just more random places are starting to realize that audiences like that. They like that variety. And they also like the fact that, you only have to sing an hour and a half when all you have to focus on is an hour and a half.
Uh-huh.
And you do that every night, you know how freaking good you're going to get at singing your own songs?
Absolutely.
Because that's all you're going to have to do. You sing your own songs for an hour and a half, maybe 4 covers tops. And you're going to get so good at singing those songs, which means that your originals are going to get better.
Yeah.
And if you're only singing an hour and a half a night, when you go home at night, you still have enough energy and enough vocal capacity to write.
Yeah.
And to me, that's everything. For me to be able to get off a show and go back to the hotel or go back in the van or whatever it is and write a song, to be able to sit there and sing for another 2 or 3 hours writing a song, that's what I want to be able to keep doing. And I know as I get older, I have to start taking care of my voice a little bit more. When I was young, it was, I was doing 4-hour shows 5 nights a week with Justin back in back in the day, back before we ever did that Hillbillies and Guitars tour. But it was, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's important. Yeah.
All right, let's jump into some bare bones.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, what band are you really into right now?
Ooh, what band am I really into right now? Does it have to be a new band?
No.
I'm getting really into Tennessee Jet. Never listened to him before. Actually, I'd listened to the stuff. I listened to some of his live stuff when he opens for Cody.
Yeah.
But Tennessee Jet's been my. I listen to new music while I work out every day.
Yep.
And he's been my workout guy for a while now because I don't know why.
I like Tennessee Jet. It's got a good sound.
Yeah, I've fallen in love with it recently, I guess you could say.
What is your all-time favorite book?
All-time favorite book? Ooh, I'll be honest with you, man. I have completely, from front to back, read one book in my entire life. I read like short stories and stuff all the time, but when I was a kid, I was never diagnosed with ADHD, but I totally had ADHD. They called it reading comprehension. Yeah. Basically, what reading comprehension means is it basically means that you can read 10 pages and go, oh shit, what did I just read? And you have to read those 10 pages again, So I started listening to books and stuff through school, and I just kind of said screw it, and I could never. I'm one of those guys. I read an interesting line, and then I'll keep reading, but the whole time I'm thinking about
that one line.
Yeah, I'm like, man, I could make a song out of that one line. I could, whatever. But that one book was a Steve Jobs biography, so that's my favorite book.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess because he's an asshole, but he was still productive.
Exactly. All right. Yeah. You being from North Carolina, pulled pork or brisket, but if you have it, is it going to be dry rub or what kind of sauce if you go sauce?
Red Bridges barbecue, pulled pork. And I guess, man, I never remember if I don't really use this. I don't really like sauce. I like dry rub. Dry rub for sure. Yeah.
All right. What was the first record you ever bought or picked out for yourself for someone to buy?
My first record, it was Easter. I got it for Easter, and I got my first boombox, and it was it was the Smooth Carlos Santana record.
Nice.
And I have 2 answers for this, and I'll tell you why. The Smooth, and the B-side was El Ferrell. And I love Smooth because Rob Thomas was singing on it. Yeah. It was a great song. It's literally the second most charting song of all time. I think Nicki Minaj beat it out like 5 years ago. Maybe deservingly so. I've got no clue. But my first country record was Honky Tonk Heroes. think it was 1973, Honky Tonk Heroes. Billy Joe Schaefer wrote it with Waylon Jennings. I think it was Waylon's first big record, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe
Nice.
folk country that came before that. But Daryl Whaley down there in Charlotte, North Carolina, introduced me to it.
That's
Love it.
awesome. First concert.
Oh, do I have to answer this one honestly?
Yep.
All right, my first concert was Train opening up for John Mayer. It was the Continuum record. He was just starting to play Gravity live. And I just loved the blues, man. You know, when I was a kid, that was the blues. Stevie Ray Vaughan was my Waylon Jennings, you know.
Okay.
You know, Jimi Hendrix was my Buck Owens, you know, and that kind of thing.
I get it. I get it.
Yeah. But John was a young guy who was making, I didn't hear the pop stuff. You know, my brother was a guitar player, so we were listening to the Trio and listening to Continuum and listening to him shred people's faces off.
Yeah.
And then Train opens up for him and they're singing "Save Me San Francisco" and running. He was running through the audience and in his tight jeans running around singing "Marry Me" to all the women in the audience, and I was like, you know, that's kind of cool, I guess. You know, being able to sing to women, and then now I sing songs for my wife. So it worked out well.
There's nothing wrong with that. When
It actually was a good concert.
I've got a Train story I'll tell you after we wrap everything up.
Oh yeah.
Star Wars or Star Trek?
Never seen either one.
Ah, such a shame.
You're like, yeah, I'm gonna beat your ass after we get off.
Nah, you know, I've only had that answer once before.
Okay. Who was it?
God.
You can tell me later if you don't know.
I can't remember which guy it was, but they're like, no, I've never really watched either one of them. I'm always too busy with everything else.
Just tell me who it is later, and I'll befriend them.
That
person will hang out together.
A support group.
Yeah, we'll have a support group. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you. This is a 2-part question.
Okay.
What is your jam song? Doesn't matter how many times you've heard it. It comes on. You're cranking it up, and you're singing at the top of your lungs. It's just your go-to. Now,
sugar. Okay.
On the converse of that, what is your guilty pleasure song? The one that you don't ever want to tell anybody that you love, but you absolutely love that song.
Okay, I'm gonna answer that in reverse order because I want to save myself. Both of them are not. Like, I feel like I can give you like country versions of this answer and rock versions, but I feel like the non-country version would be more interesting.
You can get whichever one you're feeling, because we talk about everything. Because my
country jam song,
any jam song
is like the one that, like, when me and my wife are in the car and I can't help but sing is "Sugar We're Going Down Swinging" by Fall Out Boy. Just because when I was a kid, no one knew what the chorus said.
Uh-huh.
But I did. So I could, like, sing it right, and you could hear people mumbling through the chorus, number one with a bullet. No one knew it, everyone thought it said other things. So I guess I liked that I knew what it was. My guilty pleasure is, and to be honest with you, I don't even know what lady sings this, but it's that song, to the left, everything you own is in the box to the left. I heard,
isn't that Beyonce or something like that?
Yeah, it's Beyonce, and I'm not a huge Beyonce. I don't really care. That's the only song I know by her. But I heard somebody cover it one time, man, and I don't ever listen to her version of it. But yeah, that's my guilty pleasure, man.
Okay.
I guess I like that song. But country wise, my jam song right now has got to be "Sign That Line, I Should Have Been Walking," Justin Clyde, man.
It's a great song.
That's been him, and that record he put out in Tennessee Jet, and some of Corey Hunt stuff recently is what I've been listening to while I work out. That stuff, all that stuff.
I love Corey.
Like I said, I could have country answers for all this too, but I feel like that would.
And Corey's doing some great stuff. I mean, he's got some great stuff going on right now. All right, person living or dead that you would love to have been to take the stage with one time.
Keith Whitley.
That's a damn fine answer, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, my dog is named Keith Whitley Jr.
Okay.
So, and I'll tell you, it's funny. I named him Keith Whitley Jr. And 2 days after we got him, and hopefully the cops don't come beat my door down here. But 2 days after we got him, my cat knocked a sack of weed of mine off the counter, and he ate it all. And I was asleep, and my wife took him to the vet. She called her mom, and her mom came and got her and took her to the vet, or took him to the vet, because he was just sitting over the couch whining, but he couldn't move. He couldn't move at all. And it was a puppy, awesome. Dude. He was like we had just rescued him from the animal shelter, and they got to the vet, and the vet's like, so what, did he eat anything? And they basically knew what was going on, but they needed her to say that he had eaten weed so that they could treat him.
Yeah.
And it was the most awkward call in the world, man, because you could hear her mom breathing over her shoulder, and the vet, I could just feel them shaking their head at me, man. Every time I go to the vet too, they're like, oh yeah, he had to stay overnight and get IVs one time, it says. They're like trying to make me feel bad about it. But it's funny, we named him Keith Whitley, and then he almost overdosed on marijuana the next day. So, and he got a tattoo while he was there because they fixed him. And anyways.
Nice. See, that redeems the not ever watching Star Wars.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Cool.
Absolutely. Okay. Do you have a life's mantra or, saying that you try to live by?
Yeah. I get a new one about every 6 months. Mine right now is just it's a word. I always have a word that I find that applies to everything that I'm going through at a certain period of time. Right now, it's intentional. It's been intentional for about 8 months or so. So I'm due another one. But basically, what I mean by that is, just trying to do everything. Like if I write a good song, I don't really want to write a good song if it's on accident. I want to know that it was intentional, that I had a good idea, I set a plan for it, and I was able to execute it. Because if you like if I'm at a show and I sing something cool or I say something cool, I don't want to. It's useless if it wasn't intentional, because I can't recreate that audience to audience.
Yeah.
So that really it's a way to remind myself. Just because I accidentally do something cool at a show doesn't mean that I've done the job. I have to go home and I have to practice it so that I can bring that same experience to people every night. And that way I can intentionally create that same moment over and over and over.
Right on.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm afraid one of these days you're just going to say, wrong answer.
No. There are no wrong answers. The next one we kind of already answered, though, but this last one. If you had a spirit animal, what would it be and why?
If I had a spirit animal, what would it be and why? Man, I've never been asked this, to be honest with you.
I get that a lot.
Spirit animal, I guess like some kind of bird.
Okay.
A
buddy of mine the other day said Justin Clyde Williams was his spirit animal.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome. That is awesome. Damn it! Can I use that answer?
You can. Yeah, man. Feel free to take that answer. Justin Clyde Williams is my spirit animal, or his gummy bear. His gummy bear is the spirit animal.
Gummy bear. Yeah.
The gummy bear.
I feel like it's got to be some kind of migrating animal. Just because I feel like right now I tour around right now in a Honda Fit just because it gets great gas mileage and I'm by myself. So, and I can sleep in the chair. It fits a lot more than you think it will. There's a lot more space than you think there is.
It's bigger on the inside.
So but because of that, I have to go north in the summer and south in the winter because it ain't 4-wheel drive. Yeah. I ain't gonna You know, ain't front wheel. I mean, I'm not gonna make it over the Rockies in the wintertime.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not gonna survive. I'm going to Illinois tomorrow. I'm driving to Illinois, and that's the furthest north I've been. I'm Southern Illinois too, not like North Illinois, not like Chicago. But
What area you
right
playing
now,
in?
I feel like
What area?
I'll be in Albany, Illinois.
Okay.
It's the home of the white squirrel.
That's
Look
Brevard.
it up. I ain't kidding.
That's Brevard.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, the brewery.
Yeah, Brevard, North Carolina is known for their white squirrels, man.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, they've even got statues of them downtown, and you
Oh, yeah,
see
they have them
white
here, too.
fluffy-tailed rats running around everywhere.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
See, when I was in Albany last time, they showed me they have a statue too, and the town motto has to do with the white squirrel, and they were saying that this is the only town that they're still living in. So I'm gonna have to drop a truth bomb on them, I guess.
Yeah, say y'all need to come south because we've got them all over, Brevard.
All right, we'll have to take a little sound clip out of this after it releases and share it with them.
There you go.
Share it with the world.
Or send them a link to you can pull up Brevard's Facebook page, and it's like their white squirrels are all over it.
There are 2 towns.
There are 2 towns that have white squirrels.
Heck yeah.
Well, sir, do you want to do any shout outs to anybody?
Man, I want to give a shout out to God, man. That's all I got. That's all I got. That's the only person that I owe everything to.
There you go. That's a good answer.
Yeah.
Well, folks, Pistol, I appreciate you coming on. I'm glad we were finally able to catch up. We will definitely get you back on sooner than later, hopefully. Knowing us, it'll take us 6 months to make it happen. But you know what? It's all right. It's great. It's what we do. And thank you for being a huge contributor to the Carolina Clay movement. And I'll explain more when we wrap it up here. But folks, thank y'all for listening. Appreciate you. Go out. Be kind to people. Don't be dicks.
I think the world is over. I think it's finally gonna end. This is the day that we've been talking about since the world began.